Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Force Strategy Gaming, commentating another game for you today. This one we're going to be looking at is between Stephano as our pink Zerg player and the blue Protoss is Slider. So Slider versus Stephano. We are at a best of 5 series, and go Pink Ranger. Anyways, no idea what Stephano's talking about. I'm not going to try to contemplate that in the slightest. So, yeah, there you have it. I just spent, I don't know, the past 40 minutes commentating the prior cast to this game. Completely epic, like 40-plus minute TVT. Absolutely unbelievable. And, yeah, so let's see how this series goes. Again, I'm going to be casting a best of 5 between these two players. I think I'll make it, though. I am not too worried. And, yes, Stephano, I don't think he cares. Nor do I. Slider going to be coming out with the pylon here at the front of his natural expansion. That, of course, implies a quick expansion. Now, whether we see a Forge Fast expand or just a Gateway expand, trying to defend himself, Stephano feels left out. Now I feel bad. He did a frowny face. Now I kind of feel bad about it. Okay, I don't feel too bad about it. Anyways, yeah, Stephano not doing much of anything at this point in the game. Let's take a look to see if he goes for that expansion first or the pool. And yeah, let's find out exactly what Slider decides to do as well. I'm gonna say probably a Forge expand. That's probably one of the safer bets. One of the better things you can be doing. He may actually just wait until he scouts it out to see what's going on. He's gonna see actually Stephano's deciding to play off of one base, and because of seeing this, I'm going to assume that we're gonna get that Forge instead of that actual Gateway first. The reason I say this, of course, is because dealing with these early lings, knowing that Stephano's opening up on one base, you can see moving on back in. He's gonna be a little bit leery, a little bit concerned about early Zerglings being able to just run right into things. But the one Zealot obviously not able to keep pace, but if he gets a cannon or two, it's going to kill off the Zerglings before they can actually push in and do too much at all. Slider is going to be dropping that Expo first, but then we're going to be seeing either that Forge or Gateway. But again, I'm going to say the Forge based on his scouting. If I were him, I'd be going with the Forge. So let's see if I would be doing the correct thing in Slider's eyes. Yes, I would. Oh, yes, fist pumping my way to victory now. I'm feeling great about that. Yes, so in seeing the fact, scouting out Stephano, seeing the fact that he was opening up on one base, he decided, yeah, hey, I think that Forge is going to be necessary as opposed to coming out with that Gateway first. We can, of course, see Pylon being placed right here. That Overlord's going to be scooting on over, scouting the expansion here of Slider, so he's going to see exactly what's going on. There now is that Gateway as well, so we're going to be seeing a cannon being placed down somewhere either in this vicinity or right over here, and I'm going to guess by this pro placement that we're going to be seeing that cannon, of course, right there. So there you have it. Taking a look over here, we're going to be seeing a little bit of harassment here from Slider's probe. He, of course, hates the Power Rangers, so he does, of course, want to deny any expansion that the Power Rangers may be trying to drop down. But there we go, Stephano was able to get that up, and here go the Zerglings, as expected, heading their way right across the board. We do, of course, again, have this Overlord Scout. Cannon will be in time, so he should be A-okay. Those Zerglings are going to have a hard time pushing into the base with that cannon. They're picking them off as they work their way in, and Slider going to be losing this probe here. I'm assuming he was actually trying to go down for a proxy pylon to use for a later date, but actually probably going to be losing as soon as those Zerglings do manage to get their way around and get that full surround there. And there we go, fully walling off, in fact. So Slider, does he have one space right there? I feel like that's a complete wall off. I may be mistaken, though, but it does look to me like that is a complete wall off. And yeah, so he's going to have to find other means of leaving his base. We do, of course, no longer have these destructible rocks back here, making that a little bit difficult. So he may actually end up having to kill off one of his buildings here. We'll see what happens, though. Zergling's Metabolic Boost did just come in, but of course, again, they're not going to be able to push into this base because there's really nowhere for them to go. They've got a cannon right in their face, and they can't actually push past any of these buildings because, again, as far as I'm concerned, there's no space anywhere here. This, of course, is going to allow Slider to not worry about making early Zealots. He might want to come out with that Stalker or Sentry at some point, but he's not too concerned about it as of yet. Taking a look over here for Stephano, he does have his layer coming through 50% of the way done. That Expo did just pop up, so we're going to be seeing a transfer of drones. There they go, and I saw a Stargate, and where is it? Where is that Stargate? There it is. So going to be seeing a little bit of harassment going down here. Phoenixes, of course, can be very, very effective against Zerg opponents, especially giving these Overlords completely out of position. A couple Phoenixes on the board going to tear through those and force Stephano to recreate a bunch more Overlords, and that, of course, could be a big, big issue. So let's take a look at exactly what he decides to come out with that. Aside from that, though, not seeing any transition right now. Slider obviously just working on his economy, pumping out, as you can see, chrono boosting out his workers. He wants to get out as many as possible, saturate both those mineral lines. Stephano pretty much doing the same thing. But no, look at this. Nidus Network going to be moving on in. So very, very strenuous situation right now. Slider's coming out with a Void Ray, and obviously much slower than that Phoenix. Going to have a hard time shooing away these Overlords, and we're going to be seeing a Nidus with Zerglings in just one moment. So let's see how Slider is able to deal with that. He only has this one gateway. Finally come out with the second one. Obviously the Void Ray is going to handle those Zerglings, but not before they do massive amounts of damage. So let's take a look here. Where is that Nidus? There it is. Nidus about to come in, and there we go. Probe scouting it out, but this is going to be a problem. He just does not have the necessary tools to take this out, but actually Probe's coming down. Lots of damage going out from those Probes and that Sentry, and this may actually be enough. Void Ray coming in. Beautiful stoppage of that Nidus work. Now the Void Ray is going to be able to take care of that Overlord. Is he going to try to come out with any other Niduses? Looks like he isn't. In fact, he does want to push away. You can't see get that momentary supply block because of losing that Overlord, and he needs to be careful because he doesn't want to lose these two as well. So Zerglings force their way back home. Stephano needs to nix that plan, at least for now. Now, the good thing is, though, that the Nidus network is still in play. It's going to stay around until it gets destroyed. He can use that at any point that he wants. So that's going to be kind of an auxiliary plan at this point. Now, an issue right now is that Void Ray coming out. What do we have over here for Stephano to deal with this? Right now, just the Queen over there and another Queen. I think he does, of course, yes, he does just have these two Queens. So this Void Ray is going to start laying waste here. One Void Ray over here, another one over here. And I want to see him start to move in because we do have this Hydralis Den coming in. As soon as that pops, he's going to be having a much more difficult time to actually do some damage with these Void Rays. So Void Ray is moving in, going to start making some work here on this Queen, dwindling it down as it works its way up to that highest level of charge. Do we have enough for a transfuse? No, we do not. So this Queen is going to get dropped, and then the Void Ray is going to push on back. No, not actually dropping it. He didn't stand quite long enough. We do have the second Void Ray. It looks like this one is actually going to be going straight forward. We also have a Phoenix here as well. He lost one Void Ray. That, my friends, was Miss Michael, but it is because he's got Zerglings streaming into his base. The Nidus network, as I said, that could be used at any point later in the game, has just been put into play, and we have Zerglings running rampant inside of Slider's base. Going to be doing so much economic damage. He does have these sentries, which actually makes it a little bit easier to deal with those force fields, but still at the exact same time, Void Ray is going to town here in the base of Stephano. Hydralis Den is up, though, but no Hydralis in production. There are none made anyways. Slider right now is very busy dealing with this, and Stephano looks like he's concentrated fully on this harassment. It has been stopped, though. Most of the Zerglings have been killed, but we do still have this nice worm right inside of the base, so he needs to do something about that, killing off that Overlord finally with the Phoenixes and the Void Rays doing what they can. Is he going to be able to drop this? I think he will. This Queen, it looks like it's going to die. Finally building some Hydralis right now, but taking heavy losses. Both players definitely taking big losses here in this engagement. Still trying to mop up the amount of Zerglings inside of his base. Slider coming dangerously close to losing that assimilator. He, of course, needs to take this down as quickly as possible. Void Ray still running around here. Phoenix trying to take care of some of these Overlords as well. Another Phoenix moving on, and where are those Hydras? There we go. First Hydra's there. Want to see him lifted up and Graviton Beam, but this Hydra is going to be able to drop down this Void Ray. Very dangerous. There we go. Void Ray does get dropped. Does he have enough to Graviton those? No, it's two Hydrals, and that Queen is going to be enough to push away that for the time being. And Slider finally managing to take out that Nidus network, finally feeling safe inside of his base. Also having that air control right now with those Phoenixes. No more Overlords are going to be able to spot that and drop any more Nidus. So for the time being, Slider's feeling pretty safe against any more Nidus play. We can see right now, in fact, he looks like he does want to start to push out. Pretty sentry heavy, couple Zealots mixed in there as well. Going to be working his way on out. Where are those Phoenixes? Still probably moving around, trying to spot some Overlords. We can see now all the Overlords for Stephano are tucked away inside of his base. He doesn't want to run that risk anymore. We do have a Roach Warren coming out right now as well. Taking a look at the army tab. Let's see how these guys are sizing up to one another. Stephano slightly behind Slider right now is 26 as opposed to the 36. Slider going to be moving around. Here we go. A few snipes going to be going down on these Overlords at the exact same time. That Zealot sentry push coming in the front door. So going to be distracting these Hydras, moving them down to deal with these Phoenixes, but then pushing right on in, and Slider has an opportunity to do tremendous amounts of damage. Guardian Shield going down, dropping that force field as well to prevent reinforcements. There are a lot of Hydras right now, though, and Hydras do tremendous amounts of DPS to these gateway units. They're going to be dropping them so very quickly, but these excellent force fields from Slider, plus that Guardian Shield, making these units much more effective. This one Zealot working its way on through. That does get dropped, though, and now just with the sentries, and he's going to be having a hard time now to deal with this. still doing a lot of damage, though, and that force field just devastating, absolutely devastating here. Going to start to go to town on these drones. Wants to keep up that force field as long as possible. He's running low on energy, though, so going to be retreating. Let's see if he drops that force field. There we go, dropping those force fields down, prevent those Zerglings from running through, taking out that one Hydralisk. Beautiful work there. A few Zerglings do manage to sneak on through, though. Needs to be careful. Doesn't want to lose this one Phoenix. Unfortunately, Slider did lose that one. It's time for him to retreat, but I think he's going to get mopped up here now by those Zerglings. Phoenix should be able to get away, however. So pretty intense counterattack there. Didn't actually knock out Stephano. Stephano is still, in fact, in the game, but he has taken some pretty heavy losses. Let's take a look here at the units killed. Looks like Slider is at the advantage. He has killed 83 units as opposed to only the 54 killed of Stephano. But look at how many workers Stephano killed. Out of those 54, 35 are probes. So lots of probes killed in that Zergling Nidus attack there. And actually, Zergling's wrapping around here, trying to take these units by surprise. They want to get clumped together to try to prevent that surround as much as possible. Slider continuing up this aggression, actually bringing a probe as well, so going to be doing a proxy pylon. We are seeing these two gateways placed, also coming down with a robo right now, sitting on 4 gateways at this point, so going to be moving out with 4 gateways worth of pressure. Where's that proxy pylon going down? We're actually going to having that scout and probe moving on up. He's going to be spotting this expo. Needs to be careful. Those Zerglings running right on by, but he is at the very least going to be getting that scout. We can see Slider moving across with these units, walking right over the creep, though. Stephano's fully aware of the size and the amount of units that are going to be attacking him right now. He's feeling pretty comfortable against some roaches in the mix there as well. Again, we can see that facility getting close to finish. Another base coming out here as well for Slider, and here's that engagement. Zealots moving forward to deal with those Zerglings. Needs to be careful, though. I think he's a little outgunned right now. These Zealots need to move down to actually engage with the units. They don't really want to be in there because he is outmatched. I'm guessing he just wants to try to do as much economic damage as possible, but Slider getting completely run over here by the Stephano's Zerg forces. So Stephano did manage to defend that expansion. Slider, again, going to be moving into his third as well. And what do we have? Yes, we do still have a probe up here, so proxy pylon, that is definitely going to come into play later in the game. Slider, though, might be forced to cancel this expansion. Zergling's getting a full surround there. Going to be doing lots of damage. We do have a few units being warped in here as well, though, so Zealot's going to be moving forward. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to do this. No, he's going to be forced to cancel. Please cancel. There we go. So it does manage to cancel that, putting down a few force fields. He is still getting a surround from those Zerglings, though, and that's buying time for these roaches and hydras to catch up so incredibly slow off creep, especially since it doesn't look like these roaches have that speed upgrade. And look at this Zergling's going to be streaming on in. Thankfully, that force field goes down. I'm going to protect him for just a moment. They'll made it so the Zerglings weren't able to push in, but look how quickly the roaches are able to drop down the static defense in those cannons. And with the Immortal there as well, those roaches are going to be forced to push back. The Stalker's trying to deal with those Hydralisks. Again, we do have this proxy pylon that is definitely going to come into play later in the game. We do have some continuous Immortal production right now. Slider still just sitting on the 2 bases, but he can feel pretty comfortable about that. And there is the Robotics Bay. So, of course, once Colossus come into play, this Roach Hydra build of Stephano isn't going to be nearly as effective. He's definitely going to have a hard time with that. The Roach speed is, in fact, in, and we also do have that Hydralisk range in as well. But, again, once we get about 2 to 4 Colossus into play, Slider may actually decide to push out at that point, and that can be pretty devastating. We can see Slider finally trying to come up with this third here as well. This third was just very difficult for him to defend, and it ended up getting dropped in that counterattack, which is very unfortunate. But, oh, no. Proxy Pylon was spotted here. So Stephano is going to be safe from any possible sneak attacks at any later date here, which is a good thing that he spotted that, because those things can be absolutely devastating. Having proxy pylons around any possible expansions that you may be moving into is really, really dangerous. So taking a look over here, it looks like actually Slider did get supply blocks from losing those pylons. That, of course, is unfortunate. We do have a gateway coming up here as well, trying to create some sort of a makeshift wall. Wouldn't be too surprised if he tried to come out with some cannons, although he is really low on resources. So I don't know if actually that investment would be worth it at all. We do have a pretty strong push coming from Stephano. Taking a look at the army tab, Stephano is leading 58 to the 34. Where is that Colossus finally trying to make its way on through? He does need to get that Chrono Boost out. Doesn't want to engage right here. This is not a good situation. Slider moving out into a vastly outmatched, basically he was outgunned there, and he did not want to move out into that engagement. Needs to stay back until at the very least he gets his Colossus and a few more Warpins, but his resources dangerously low, making it hard. And look at this, Stephano's going to be pushing here onto Slider's base. Slider is going to be losing these pylons, probably going to hit a supply block again, and he's going to be losing these gateways. There's nothing he can do about it. Trying to mount up to push up on the backside there and do what he can to take off some forces in the back, but again, I don't think he has enough. Again, taking a look at that army tab, he's pretty outgunned here, 38 to 66. We do have that Colossus finally in play, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. The fact that he lost that expansion is absolutely huge. Engaging here before the Colossus comes into play, and I think that may have been a big mistake, and the guy's going to be pushing forward, target firing down that Colossus, and oh no, there is a GG. So Slider does call a good game in this first game. Again, we are in a series here, best of 5 between these two players, so I will be moving on to game number 2 in just one moment. Remember guys, if you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.